What's good, internet? My name is attackslug. Welcome back to WWE 2K15 in 2021 on the PS5 because, hey, why not? And I'm heading towards Hell in a Cell. It is the 4th week of October in 2017. And who is my opponent in the steel structure? With HBK as the ref, mind you. I have to say, I am surprised at the prospect of Shawn Michaels taking on the role of special referee. Don't do anything to mess this opportunity up. Just go out there and have a 3.5 star or higher match so Shawn Michaels is happy. Why? Oh my god. Please don't be shameless. Okay, Corey Graves I can squash easily, that's fine. And so I welcome you to a fine Thursday on the program. It is things happening on a Thursday. It is a new month here, and I assure you there will be zero April Fool's shenanigans in this video, or any video on this channel today, because man, I just don't have the energy, and I'm very bad at planning things ahead of time. So no, there is no April Fool's thing this year from me. So rest assured, all of my discussion here and news commentary is all 100% factual, as much as I can have it be factual on the show. So, let's get into NXT and AEW from last night on the TV. The final of the regular Wednesday Night Wars happening, that have been happening for the past year and a half and change. So, one thing we learned was that NXT Night 1 of Stand and Deliver will not only be on USA, and the final Wednesday on USA, it will also be streaming on Peacock. And I would imagine that means no commercials, so watch it on Peacock if you can. That's what I'm going to do. So, just saying, that to me is more enjoyable, not having the usual USA commercials. Now, personally, I would have said, hey, make a deal with USA to have a very limited interruptions there, but that's not what they're doing, apparently, so I don't know on that end. But I'm going to watch it on Peacock next Wednesday, and the following Tuesday, it'll be on USA, because Tuesdays. So they opened the show with Cameron Grimes and Roddy Strong, and they had double duty there, because they were both in that Battle Royal, as announced, and I'm like, wait, huh? Why? That was weird. Like, why have them work double duty? I'm not really entirely sure on that whole thing. But Cameron Grimes had the distraction. Nice! I missed it. And I kept my finisher there. That was hilarious. I almost pulled a Brock Lesnar there with a broken freaking neck. And Corey Graves can't quite capitalize that I botched that top rope maneuver. That's funny. But I still have finisher, Corey Graves. I can still finish you off, Corey Graves. Maybe. I hope. I lost to Sheamus. I don't know, man. My confidence is shattered. But Corey Graves gets shattered by a Slug Exploder. This better be 3.5 stars, Mr. Graves. This better be. I've thoroughly trounced you in this ring rang. There was the botch. Wow. Wow. Was that enough stars for old HB Shizzle? Look at that, 4 stars. Success. Success. You look pretty good out there. Not great, though. I'm hoping you bring it at Hell in a Cell. Don't let me down, kid. So I assume that SmackDown was the go-home show before Hell in a Cell here in October. So the question now remains, who's it gonna be? Darren Young is my Hell in a Cell opponent. Mr. No Days Off. All that build, no offense, but all that build and we get Darren Young.
I want Darren. I don't know who y'all want, but I want Darren to come out here.
Yeah, alright. Anyhow, Cameron Grimes had an Undisputed Era armband in his trunks as a foreign object, and it messed up Roddy Strong, and Grimes got the cave-in and won the match, and then Strong left the building. So he was not in that main event 6-man, or I guess 12-man deal there. So no Strong in that match. He just bailed, which was, alright, sure. But why were they on double duty with my question. Weird. Now, Escobar had an open challenge, and that was answered by Tyler Breeze, and then Escobar wins that match, and they also keep building with MSK there, because they're fighting in that triple threat tag team thing for the titles, which are currently vacant. Whatever. Now, The Way fought some jobbers. Fine. Io and Raquel. Over the course of this evening, Io and Raquel got into it multiple times, put Io through a wall, but she just kept getting up and had the last laugh at the end of the night here. But we also had Raquel beating Zoe Stark here in a singles match. And there was an NXT dog that is for somebody that I guess is debuting on that Tuesday show on the 13th of April. So I'm like, I don't know whose dog that was. It was a cute dog, but that was a little weird. I'm like, who's this NXT dog just walking around the backstage of NXT? Now, we had Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter versus Xia Li and that creepy throne lady. And she was not in the match, as was advertised as a tag team match. So instead, Kaden Carter went to go say, hey, get in the match, got choked out, smoke in her face, passed out, and yeah, Xia Li cleans up there easily. And the main event there was that Battle Royal. And the final 6 who were going to be in that 6-man gauntlet eliminator at the Stand and Deliver Night 1 will be Swerve, Ruff, Reed, LA Knight, Loomis, and Cameron Grimes, but LA Knight the final competitor in that match. So will it be LA Knight and Gargano on night 2? We shall see. Wait, we're at Hell in a Cell, but we're not in Hell in a Cell. What? Video game. You have swerved me fantastically. Like, I believed it was going to be inside Satan's structure. This is not Hell in a Cell. This is just a regular match at Hell in a Cell. Why would you do that with Shawn Michaels as a referee? I'm so confused right now. I'm baffled. So Darren, primetime player Darren Young, millions of dollars. You're going down, man. I'm sorry. You can take a day off, Darren Young, because this is nonsense. I thought I was going to get in the cell. Why is Shawn here otherwise? That's very disappointing for your boy. So, AEW opened with Christian Cage in his first in-ring match against Frankie Kazarian, and they went for a good 15, almost 20 minutes, no commercials. And it was a very much textbook 101 wrestling match, and it was very enjoyable all around. I loved seeing the crossface chicken wing in there, and Frankie hitting that flux capacitor was crazy. So, but of course, as you might expect, Christian Cage wins his debut here on AEW. Now, the Cody and QT Marshall exhibition with Arn Anderson as the guest ref. Speaking of guest refs here, with Arn Anderson, and we thought, or I thought, it was going to be, hey, it'll be QT working on Cody's arm, which is still injured, right? And that makes sense here for him to have his heel turn thing happen. But it went further than that, to where I didn't even predict it at that point. It was QT clocking Arn Anderson, just out of nowhere, and half of the Nightmare family turned on the other half. So essentially it was Nightmare family, Wolfpack, and they turned on him, and that was short. They pile drove Dustin, a bleeding mess Dustin, into the steel steps that they put on the ramp, and they were going to concerto Cody on those steel steps, but then Red Velvet came out and stopped it. So yes, QT and his faction, we have yet another faction in AEW. I do enjoy a good bit of faction warfare. So, considering the problems that Team Taz is having, we need another heel faction. Considering that Dark Order is kind of faces now, we need another heel faction here. We obviously have the Pinnacle, but they're feuding with the Inner Circle. So, having more than one heel faction, all these face factions, makes sense. And yes, Matt Hardy's faction is heel, and they're feuding with Sting and Darby and Dark Order? I forget. Wow, you managed to come out on top. I guess you are the real deal. You got a bright future ahead of you, kid. Thanks, but I wanted an actual Hell in a Cell match, Shawn. You screwed me on that. Batista defeats John Cena in Hell in a Cell. And back to having nothing scheduled for your boy. There's Ambrose. But no, we'll go for Big Red here in a dark match. I don't know. There was a promo here for Elevation that featured Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, who are now apparently in a tag team and having a match on Elevation versus the Matt and Mike Sydal type thing. And I'm like, you literally took Scorpio Sky out of SCU, out of a tag team, to just put him back in a different tag team. They have no idea what to do with Scorpio Sky. It's just sad. Sad. So, Mox fought Bononi and beat him, and I really enjoyed the finish here, which was a pump handle into that Bulldog choke. Like, it was a cool finish. Now, there was a Team Taz vignette where continually Brian Cage is not on the same page as Team Taz, as we keep seeing here over and over again. So, what, how, and when will Team Taz implode? There was a great backstage pre-taped brawl between the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle. Loved that. And also, Jericho and MJF saying the worst is yet to come and smashing MJF into a Pepsi machine, much like he said the same exact thing to HBK like 13-something years ago and put him through that Geritron 5000. It was the same quote into another glass surface. Was hilarious. So, loved that. Just a nicely filmed, nicely just put together brawl between two factions in a backstage fashion. Good stuff. So, Omega and the Good Brothers took on the Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid. As a reminder, this was taped after they taped last week live. So, of course, if you have somebody in from AAA, you're going to use them for more than one show. So, this was all taped last week as such. But Laredo won last week. He didn't win this week. No, Omega and then Good Brothers won this matchup. You know, tit for tat and all that. So we had Shida and Ty fighting Nyla and the Bunny. And the Bunny won the match. Obviously pinning Ty here because you're not going to pin your women's world champion. But it was a, how will they coexist? Because Ty is rated #1 in the rankings for that women's world championship. And your main event was indeed Arcade Anarchy. So it was Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor versus Kip Sabian and Miro. And ringside, your arcade games included Primal Rage. That's a nice pick there. Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct 2, not 1, but 2. And then, you know, Mario Bros, Pac-Man. They had a whack-a-mole machine, and that was hilarious. Like, broke that with the plunger and all that good stuff. There was a very dodgy-looking air hockey thing at ringside. I'm like, that doesn't look right. I've seen my fair share of air hockey that did not look like air hockey because, surprise return in this match, Statlander was hiding in the crane game, bust through it to attack Ford, and then put her through that table, which was just that table with that air hockey thing on top of it, which was hilarious. Loved that. But not the only return in this match. The Van returns. Sue was back, and Trent is back in action and helped them win that match. Kip Sabian going through a table at the end, so furthering that Kip Sabian and Miro are going to be splitting up here at some point because Kip cost them the match again. But also Miro tossing what was a shell of a machine, and it didn't hit, right? So I'm like, why wouldn't you just have bought one of those arcade one-up machines for, like, you know, $300, which are not that heavy. I'm sure somebody like Miro could pick it up, which would have a screen on it, because if it's not going to hit anyway, then why not just use an actual thing than just a shell with no screen? It was weird. But alright. But yes, I am so happy to see the Galaxy's greatest alien back in action on AEW. Super, super thrilled for that. The WWE Universe has been asking me who I think is the fastest rising superstar in the WWE is. If you really need to know, I think it's attackslug. Thanks, Trips. Perhaps that will lead to something here. I don't know. But that will lead to things tomorrow on the show. I'm attackslug. Thanks for watching. More videos right here. See you next time. And I'm out!